Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. I actually changed what I was going to do today. I was going to overanalyze the Joe Blackburn tweet where he replied to me yesterday about how there are seeds planted in Season of the Worthy that who knows where they may lead. And I was going to go through Season of the Worthy and talk about all the different storylines and things there. I still may do that, but it's mainly just Rasputin is probably coming back and getting a body, which was like half of the Fellwinter story of that season, so I don't know how much more there is to extract there. I kind of assume that's coming, maybe not next season, but at some point overall. Today, I wanted to circle back to the article I wrote today because it has gotten such a response that I was not really even expecting, and for once, people aren't mad at me. They're just responding to the article. What it was about today was discussion about there have been just a lot of I try to avoid leaks and stuff, but there have just been so many rumors at this point about this specific kind of overall change that may or may not be coming to Destiny that I can't really avoid it. The idea here is I wouldn't consider this a spoiler, but people are people, so if you don't want to know anything about the potential leveling changes of Destiny in the future, which may or may not be true, I guess don't watch this. But the idea is that while power level isn't necessarily going away completely, the Pinnacle powerful power grind is going away. And the idea is that everything is just going to be transitioned into artifact power, and there will be no more grinding for powerful drops or Pinnacle drops or things like that. And the question I posed was, Destiny may get rid of its Pinnacle grind, should it? Almost every single person who's responded to this article has emphatically said yes, and have gone beyond that to say this is one of the biggest things even standing in their way of kind of continued enjoyment of the game based on the way the current system works. And when I first heard this, I was move everything to the artifacts. I don't even like artifact power now. This is going to be bad, and I don't think that's a good idea. But then once I thought about it and once I kind of considered what it would actually mean, I'm now struggling to see actual downsides for it, which is kind of weird. I've talked before about eliminating power altogether and how Bungie is making moves in that direction. I mean, we already have things like the entire Legendary campaign was just based on a set power differential. GMs are a set power differential. Contest mode raid is a set power differential for launch day. Can foresee hard mode raid as being contest mode at some point in the future. They took power out of Iron Banner. So there's very, very few things that really matter for power anymore anyway. And yet fundamentally this is an ARPG slash MMO slash whatever you want to call it. And there is some level of okay, you still want numbers to go up to some degree and you want to feel stronger rather than a flat power level in at least some activities. So I can see the argument for power not going away completely. However, I can really see the argument for power just switching over to what would be essentially an entirely XP-based system. And the problems with the Pinnacle system right now are pretty self-explanatory. There are the big kind of obvious ones, you go for a Pinnacle grind a given week and you're trying to find one or two specific slots and you get 13 energy weapons or something. And then so your grind is just hampered entirely based on RNG. When your friends grind, they get all the things in the right slots. And it is very frustrating to run an entire Pinnacle activity and not get the slot you're wanting. And in most of these activities where there is not really focusing or anything, it's a 1 in 8 chance that you're going to get the slot that you want, depending on how the loot pools are. That's not good. That has never felt good. Another aspect of this that I think is something to consider is I'm just tired of infusing things. It's so boring and just such busy work to constantly be infusing, not even just old stuff you take out of the vault that's really low power level. Hello, Evie. But also, you just feel you need to be infusing things every couple of power levels, and it's just this currency sink of upgrade modules and enhancement cores that, I'm out of them, I gotta run to the tower and do this, and it's just, that's not fun. That has never been fun, and I don't find that enjoyable. I'm not sure many people do. And then the third aspect of this is I feel this would be a change made that would hugely benefit new lights or people that are just more casual players, people that have lapsed and skipped seasons. This isn't like these details are not really in the leaks from what I'm seeing, but like when you move to an entirely XP based system, you would think what would happen is they would just keep raising the floor up. So, everyone starts a season at the same power level. If you're a casual player, you will get a minimal, moderate amount of XP, and you will get, I don't know, 5, 10 more power levels over the course of a season. A little more power if you are a super grinder and you're doing, all the activities, grinding all the bounties, doing all the what used to be Pinnacle things, you will get a much higher overall power level by the end of the season, 25 to 30. And then the next season, the floor gets raised again, and we do it all over again. And even if the overall number doesn't really matter anymore, you can kind of reset to 0 and it wouldn't mean anything. But the point here is like the current system now, if you miss a season or take a couple seasons off or skip the last expansion, you're going to show up and have this very stupid process of feeling like you need to grind anywhere from, at the current levels, 200 power levels to, 10 to 20 if you missed the last season or something like that. Even if power levels aren't going up as much as they used to, like 50 a season, it's still, you come back and you're like, I'm behind, how do I catch up, blah, blah, blah. But if they do this where everyone starts at the same baseline every season, and you're still rewarding, very intensively playing players, and you're just not leaving anyone behind anymore. And losing, I don't see the problem in like losing gear power. We've talked about intermediate steps before this, like slot leveling and maybe just level up individual slots, but like why even bother doing that? Why even bother with that if you can just make XP itself the main thing? And there still kind of would be at least some, facsimile of the Pinnacle grind. It just wouldn't be rooted in RNG anymore. So you would go around, like they would, everything that's a Pinnacle now would still exist as a challenge or whatever you want to call it in the game. It would just be things that are giving you giant buckets of XP, kind of like the challenges that you get weekly now, but like your 100k Nightfall, your raid drops, whatever, would just be, you would still get the gear, obviously, you would get the drop of, whatever the item is. It's just the bonus you would be getting is like, okay, here's 200,000 XP. I don't know the scale anymore, but like, you know what I mean? A giant chunk of XP where if you are not doing that week to week, it would take, if you're just grinding the Vanguard Strike playlist, it would take a lot longer to amass that much XP or something like that. So you would still be rewarding players who are doing the most difficult activities and giving them higher power, but you would be taking it out of an RNG-based system. There would be no more reliance on slots or anything like that. You would just be feeding into an overall XP pool that would produce the same result in the end, slow incremental power increases that add up over time, but without any of the RNG frustration. The RNG frustration would be saved for weapon drops, armor drops, crafting patterns. There's still plenty of RNG to get mad about in Destiny, so it's not like randomness is completely going away. But I think this is the main reason everyone has been like, yeah, I'm so tired of doing this that like I would not shed a tear if this went away tomorrow. And I don't know what the timing of this is supposed to be. This seems like a big change that would probably come with Lightfall. I doubt they would change it mid-year, like mid-season, but who knows? I don't know the reality of that. I also think this would need to come with a few caveats in terms of how power works going forward for some activities. We have something now like Trials. They just took away from Iron Banner, but Trials still uses gear Pinnacle power, but it does not use artifact power. Compromise here, power levels are not enabled in Trials. It is very stupid power levels are enabled in Trials or any PvP. It has always been stupid that is the thing. Destiny is ridiculously hard to balance for PvP at baseline, and then adding in different power levels and how much damage people can take and blah, 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 blah. It has never been... The only time this has been remotely fun was like the absurd Iron Burden challenge where you just drop your level so low that you have to like way overperform in order to get kills. Like that was kind of fun. It's like a gimmick, but day to day, no, it is not fun to already be going against a stacked team, but they're also ultra grinders that are 10 power above you, and that's going to give them additional, a few less bullets to kill you, like when they're already better than you. Like, it's so pointless. I don't know why that exists. The second thing here is one common complaint I see a lot is people are very tired of having to regrind power just to get back up to GM level, where this season it was like 1585, I think, or something, and then you can start GMs. Don't see a point in that. I don't see a reason that you can't just since GMs are a set power differential anyway, just whenever you're going to launch GMs, just launch GMs and let people do GMs. GMs are, the good activities to farm. They are enjoyable for people looking for a high level challenge in PvE. Just activate them earlier and do not make people grind XP to a certain level to unlock them. So this leaves the question of like, well, what's power even used for? And like, not much is the answer, and that's like already true regardless of what they change with the system or not. It's things like the seasonal activity will probably get easier over the course of time as you grind more power. They already did like the minimum floor thing essentially with Nightmare Containment this time. They're just like, you're 1550 power, like no matter what power you are. So like they're already doing the power floor thing. And then if you grind over time and you're 1590 or whatever by the end, you're killing things faster in that. True for if you want to farm Legend or Master Nightfalls, you can overlevel for those. So if you don't want to do GMs with power differential, you can farm, your heart out on Masters being overleveled for those. For the Master Dungeon, a regular dungeon, or you can overlevel for that stuff. Right now, hard mode raids you can overlevel for. I think this is a whole other topic, but like I think hard mode raid should become contest mode. I do not think GMs should be left as like the hardest PvE thing in the game. I think hard mode raid should be kind of locked into contest mode, so it requires more mechanic execution than just overleveling for it. I think that is a common complaint among endgame PvE folks, and I think you could up the rewards somehow if you did that. Separate topic, but that might be something you take power out of. All of this sounds like a good idea to me fundamentally. Like, I don't know if I have all the details exactly right here, but it is very, very clear to me that everybody is sick of the gear power grind. Like, it never ends, but like it also, is on top of the artifact thing we already have. So I just don't see a reason that we need to be doing this forever. And this, incremental infusion system, like this would be like the biggest fundamental change to power in Destiny history, because it has always been hooked into gear, always been hooked into specific slots, and that remains a pretty common practice among other similar games. I mean, some games have avoided it and just gone to straight XP level. That's more of an MMO thing, but Destiny's more of an MMO now, so maybe you do, you go down that path, and you can always change it back and can always get rid of it if it's some disaster, but I really have to believe it would be better than the current gear powerful Pinnacle system, which is annoying longtime players and frustrates players who have been away for a while or new players who feel like they're behind. I feel like this is going to solve a lot of problems if they actually implement this. When will we learn about this for sure? Probably the showcase. If this is a Lightfall thing, this seems like something that they should mention in the showcase. It's possible Lightfall is just purely about the story of Lightfall and like a new subclass or something, and they don't get into details like that, and like I could see a whole power level discussion being in a separate blog post or something, but it's a major enough change where I would assume maybe it's going to be mentioned there. And then we will probably have the next 2 seasons the way things are now, which, whatever, is not the end of the world, but I have to believe this is changing and that Bungie notices how people react when this is brought up. We'll see what happens. I certainly kind of wish that this is where things are going at this point, and if not, I think that would be kind of a mistake, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.